Introduce yourselves.
Trillis Illis. It's your girl Key in the building, also known as Kiara Lene, Lovemore Studios.
It's Sai. And if you don't know, now you know.
Okay, so we're going to get straight into it. We have a bunch of topics to talk to you guys about today. So we're going to get right into it. All of us, if y'all don't know, work in the entertainment industry of Orlando, Florida. We're also all not from Orlando, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later. Yes. I'm from Sarasota, so I'm still from Florida. Homegirl Key is from Baltimore,
DMV.
Maryland. DMV.
Maryland, don't do that.
Okay.
Baltimore, Maryland, and Maryland is like two.
Okay, you have to school us. And then we got Sai from New York.
Yeah, period. So, you already know I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah. So, with that being said, like I said, we got some cool topics to talk to you guys about today. But we are, dope girls from different places coming to this new place, all trying to make it, and elevate and expand our careers in this industry, So that's what we're going to be talking about today, especially. So one of the first things that, because we always do this, like, we'll have a meeting or we'll be driving beforehand and we start talking and we're like, we need to put this in the episode.
Yeah, right.
Because that's just how we go, how our conversations are. But one of the things that was like that for us today was the conversation about people's places in our lives, right? So for an example, with artists and stuff, one of the main things that we were talking about is it can be really hard when your close friends or family aren't like necessarily supporting you in the way that you think they should, whether that be like coming to every one of your shows or streaming all of your music, and kind of why that is, and if as artists or as creatives, we are like, it makes sense for us to like maybe take things personal or like want those people to be our fans. That was a mouthful, but let's get into that conversation.
I don't even know where to start. Yeah. That's kind of a lot to dissect.
Okay, so
help me, Sai. Dissect. What is the question really that is being asked
right
here?
How do we figure out where people fit in our lives, or
just in general, or
so? Because I know where we're going with
okay,
it.
I know where to take you. So knowing what friends are for what and like what roles they play, because like you have your friends who may be there for like you want to talk to them, you want to vent and stuff like that, but they might not be your party friends. You can't take them out and stuff like that. Or you got your like ones who want to listen to your music, things of that nature. So
yeah. So for me, I 100% believe in having separate friend groups. I feel like that's natural. I feel like that is healthy because, like he said, certain groups they just don't mesh. Right. I would say, and then, like people playing certain roles in our lives. Like I have certain friends that are like, those are my New York friends. You know what I mean? Like I only see them when I go to New York. My New York friends and my Florida friends probably will never mix. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I just feel like it's healthy to not do that because it could cause drama. It could, sometimes I just know that certain people may not get along with other people. And it's funny because for the first time in my life, like since living here, I actually had an issue with a friend who, had a problem with me not mixing my friend groups. And like I was told that was a toxic way of thinking, and I honestly don't feel like that is. And then as far as the part with like being an artist and wanting friends and family to support you, as an artist, I can definitely say it's a bit hurtful when certain people in your life don't support your music, because granted, yes, everyone has a role to play, but if you're my best friend, regardless of what I do, you need to support me. if you're my, my mom, my dad, my sister, there's just certain people in my life where it's like, if I'm doing something, I expect your support through and through. If you're a random person, you don't know me really, or we just became friends, okay, cool, I'm not really gonna hold you to that standard. But it's sad to say that strangers, people you just met, will support you way more, 10 times harder than the people that should support you.
Yeah, and I think that was like one of the main things that I had, like, when we were having these conversations, like, hone in on, is because, as musicians, as creatives, artists, whatever you want to call it, like, our art is very dear to us, and it would be the same exactly, like, whatever it is, whatever you are passionate about, that's what you're passionate about. So you care about it and you hold it very close to you. So it's definitely hurtful when the people that you care about aren't, supporting in the ways that we think they should. And I think that was one of the main things I was talking to Key about, is it's like, I don't expect, and not like, this is just my perspective, what I mean, in my opinion, I don't expect like my family or my close friends who hear me in the studio and who I like, send my music to get their response, or like who are hearing my shit all the time. I don't expect them to be streaming my music all the time, because they hear it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like they come to my shows. Blah, 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 blah. I feel like it's all like the different levels of support and like the relationships that you have with people, because exactly like you said, if I just meet someone, or if I just see you doing the show run, you know what I'm saying, I'm probably not going to care if you're super supportive of me or whatever. But, and we'll get into this later, like, there are people who do get pressed that the whole community that they're around all the time isn't listening to their music consistently and showing that kind of support. But yeah, it's just like, going back to it, everyone plays a role, and I think it's really important to also like communicate those things. You know what I mean? So,
that's what I was going to say too, a little bit before you get to your point. Knowing like what support looks like if you don't know how, like just because I don't go to your show, that doesn't mean I'm not supporting you or that I can't support you. I might show it in a different way. So it's just knowing what support people have to give.
Exactly, and that's what I meant when I said like having that communication about it on both parties. You know what I mean? As like the creative or the artist side, being like, hey, this is the best way to support me. Like these are the ways that I receive support. Regardless, whether that's to your fans or on a more personal note, like to your friends and family, and being like, hey, like, this is really important for me, this is what I need you to do. And then on the other side of like, maybe your friend pockets are tight, hey bro, I don't have the money for this show right now, but you bet your ass I'm gonna reshare the fuck out of the flyer, and I'm gonna send it to people, you know what I mean?
And so like that is kind of what leads into what I was gonna say as far as support, because I do agree that there are definitely different levels to it and different forms of support. Everyone, I don't care if you rich, you poor, whatever, as long as you got a phone and Wi-Fi, you can reshare my post. You know what I'm saying? You can comment on my post, you can like my post, and that's support. That's all around the board, regardless of what you do, whether you're an artist, whether you have a small business, whether you just want
I gotta
your
rebuttal
friend.
to that. So what about like, okay, yes, we're all on social media, but like what about some, because I've had friends and we've had conversation and stuff like that. They're like, well, I'm on social media, but like I'm not a social media person, so it's just like,
if they could share a celebrity's post and have something to say about that, you could share my post. Like, I hate that people will quicker support someone that you don't even know from a hole in the wall, don't even know that you're sharing this post, don't even know that you're living, breathing on this earth, before you could take the 2 seconds to reshare my post. They could reshare a relatable quote from Justin LA Boy. I be seeing y'all. So you can share my event flyer.
So I taking shots, right? Like. No, but for real, and I feel like that just also goes back to like most things in life are subjective. Not everything is black and white. And like to your point, Key, no, if I have a friend who I know is off grid and has a freaking Nokia phone, I'm not gonna be mad that they didn't refill. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Because like that's they can't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I bet you that person will be barefoot at the show. You know.
So no excuses. That's basically
pretty
it.
much.
No excuses, but also it's just like communication is really important, and that's we have to be understanding on both sides. Like artists have to be understanding that you know, not every person's gonna stream every song, not every person's gonna make it to every date, buy everything. First of all, because not everyone can.
Right.
But also, like, that's just not how it works. But on the fan side, on the audience, on the supporter side, it's also important, you know, for them to have empathy and take into account what the person that they care about actually needs or wants. Because sometimes, yeah, it'd be weird. Like, people will like, care about you so much that they smother you like a helicopter parent, you know what I'm saying? And it's just not even in the right ways. They're like, I love you so much, I'm going to suffocate you, you know? But yeah, so let's segue, because we're talking about, you know, support and people supporting in different ways and that kind of like communication dynamic. And one of the things that we were talking about was low maintenance friends. So I want you to kick off that topic.
So the reason how we ended up talking about that is because my best friend lives in New York. We've been best friends for years. And literally we have this relationship where it's like we can go months without talking on the phone, without texting. Like I said, she lives in New York. I barely see her. But then we have times when we on FaceTime every single day, back to back, filling each other in. Sometimes she's so busy. I understand that life be lifing. And so it's like having a low maintenance friend is good for me because I'm always busy. I can't have a friend that's needy in this sense where they're like, I always want to hang out, or why are you not texting me back, or why can't you, or why didn't you? I can't do that because then it's going to make me feel like smothered, like what you said, or it's going to make me feel maybe even bad in a way because it's like, damn, am I not being a good friend? And it's not even that. It's just I have so much going on, and that's why I feel like the three of us work because Ari, I'll text her phone stay on do not disturb.
No, literally.
Like, and I notify anyway.
Exactly. And you know, like, it just all goes back to like that communication aspect and like I think that's a huge thing growing up, and like building really close friendships or like strong friendships, I think is a better word for it. And like you learn that like, hey, maybe I am a really needy person, but I know Sai can't fucking deal with that, so I'm gonna take my needy ass to my friend who is also needy.
Exactly.
Who's gonna want that energy, you know what I mean? Because like, it's kind of off topic but not, like trauma dumping is one of those things where like some people are, some friends, like honestly none of your friends are your therapist, number one. Like everyone needs time to vent and things like that, but I had seen someone on TikTok, they were talking about how like before they go and talk to their friend about like something that happened in their life that's like a really stressful topic or like really emotionally intense or traumatic, triggering, whatever, before they say anything to their friend, they ask them like, are you okay to receive this this information right now? And like even like just little things like that, you know what I mean? Like, because everybody is different, and I feel like I truly am a hippy dippy type of freak who thinks that like everyone can get along, you know what I mean? And I really believe that. I think that everyone can get along if everyone is able to communicate and understand each other. But yeah, with building close friendships, like it's super important. And yeah, that's the end of my thought.
I feel like communication is like really the key to a lot of things. Like literally you can move so smoothly throughout life if you just communicate with people, let them know just like how things make you feel, setting those type of boundaries and things that make you uncomfortable. So like having those conversations with people, like you gotta have them. You just gotta have them.
Yeah. I really wish we could have like a story time episode one day because a lot of what we're talking about I relate to in the sense of like being in a position where I'm the friend that's like too low maintenance and I'm like not as like needy or
100%.
It's like I try to set boundaries, but like those boundaries aren't being respected. Like I know how that feels, and it's a horrible feeling, or it's a horrible feeling to kind of feel like you're one way and the person you're trying to be friends with is trying to change you to be a way that they want them to be. And then it kind of makes you start to question like, is this a genuine friendship? Because then if so, why are you trying to change me? Even kind of like to the venting thing, me personally, I hate having to repeat myself, and I hate not being listened to. And I'm someone where I'm very like to myself, so if I take the time to vent to you,
right,
I don't want you to vent to me back. Like I'm venting to you because I want you to listen or maybe give me advice, but don't, like, as my friend, if I come to you and I'm venting to you or whatever, I'm going through a lot, don't sit there and then try to tell me about what you going through. Girl, we could talk about that after or tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? So, again, like you said, setting those boundaries, communicating what bothers you, what you're cool with, what you're not. And then after that, though, if that friend cannot respect those boundaries.
Do y'all think that creatives are able to be in that space honestly and truthfully? Because like well creatives in general, we're like moving around a lot. Like we don't have time and spaces to where like even working friendships to where we could just be around. Like a lot of times if you want to hang out, hang with me in the studio, hang with me while I'm working, while I'm doing something, while I'm active.
I feel like as creatives, we're very scheduled. So I definitely think you can schedule time to be like, girl, we going to the mall. It's in my calendar. Same thing like with everything else that I do. And that's kind of like how I work. It's like, all right, you want to do this? Hold on. This is the day I'm free. We could do that. I'll put it in and I'll schedule things around it.
Oh, yeah. There's someone who shall not be named that would bother me so much with that. I don't care who you are, especially musicians. If you're on that like, oh, my day just comes as it comes and like I don't know until. No, bro. You can take the time to go into your iPhone calendar and set aside a couple hours, a couple weeks in advance and know to not do to book anything else that day. To build relationships with people, to get, you know, and not even on the tip of like building friendships, because of course that's super important, but also like taking the staff writer of Orlando Weekly to lunch, or you know, having a meeting with having a bonding time with your engineer or your producer or something. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of time in this world, and there's a lot of stuff for artists to get done. You know what I mean? So yeah, time blocking and time management is
very
really important.
Very, very.
So with that being said, we are going to go on a brief little break. I'm super excited to be presenting some new music from the Run It Back podcast. We've got 2 new songs for you guys. First off, we've got Moyo's World with Island Punch. This is a dope-ass Afrobeat song, super sensual. We're definitely going to be getting jiggy, getting down. I'm super excited for that. And then we have a song called Been Too Long by The Wicked Saint, who is a super cute, sad white boy who produces and engineers and is super talented and super cute. He just released a new EP, and this is my favorite track off of that. So I hope you guys enjoy. This is Island Punch from Moyo's World.
Wanna know your choices, so I can know you. Says she's sipping Island Punch with a little strawberry in it. Me, I'm sipping Don Perignon. Got a couple ice cubes in it. It was a slow night till you walked up in here. Now I'm feeling so right. Look off you flow right. Something must kill it, man, no. If I should fall and jump up, me, I be a jet go. You know if you scale my stature. Mango, I bet it tastes like mango. Get you up in my bronco. You fire past the song go. That's the only wave I'm tryna ride on. You get me right on. Where we going in no regrets, baby. Where we going in no regrets, baby.
What's goody? We're back, the Baddie Brigade, in full-fledged, full effect, and we're coming to talk about some more stuff with you guys. So let's get right into it. The next topic that we're bringing to you all is, I already forgot, how to build a community. So let's just give our own takes real quick about, you know, how we have currently built the community that we have, like some things that have worked for us, and then kind of take it from there. So either of you.
I guess coming to Full Sail, I definitely didn't expect to like grow so fast. Just like my network, everybody that I know, the people that I'm around. So I guess the number one thing is just like I wouldn't say just seeing everybody as somebody who I genuinely want to potentially be friends with, honestly and truthfully. Like, we're all humans. We'll get to know people and connect with them in that sense. It just kind of started and grew from there.
Right, so coming from, like, that place of, like, genuineness and authenticity.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, I really love that, like, yeah, and I feel like a part of that is treating everyone with, like, the same respect.
Mm-hmm. No one's
you know what I mean?
Anyone else.
Exactly, because not only can you just make people feel shitty by, like, you know, treating them a certain way, but you may not have even treated somebody, like, bad, but if they see you, like, the way you know, treat other people is different. It, like, I guess an example could be, like, let's say, like, usually trios don't work in girl friendships because one, like, there's, like, the two best friends and then the one who's, like, kind of shoved off. Like, that kind of feeling of, like, being the friend who's, like, watching somebody be, like, super cool and nice to everyone else, and then when they talk to you, they were, like, you know, brushed you off and shit like that. So, yeah, I just wanted to put my 2 cents in.
So, quick. Wait, are you finished?
Yeah.
Sorry. Quick little comment. I actually, this would be, like, I guess my second time in, like, a trio thing, because when I was in high school, I had a little, like, trio group, but I feel like maybe it worked because just like us, we all, like, came together at the same time. Like, it wasn't like you, like,
we were best friends for
had a relationship, me and you had a relationship, me and Key had a relationship, and then we kind of just bought it all together.
Right.
So that's why I don't see us, like, going down that route.
And that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Like, now that I'm thinking back to, like, my girl trios, like, somebody was friends, like, 3 years before, and like,
that
so
is
we
actually
starting
really
fresh
good.
together.
Wow.
We did all start really fresh.
But as far as community and I guess how I've contributed to that or how I've built that, well, one, because I'm not from here, like he said, I definitely wasn't expecting to grow as much as I did or even be doing as much as I am, especially since this is not, like, where I'm from. And for me in the beginning, it was really like I would go to these events all the time and give myself a number of how many people's Instagrams I wanted to get that night, and it would be obviously beneficial to me but also to whoever was there and kind of help me get more involved with the community and the artists or engineers or whatever you do that's around. And I'll be like, all right, I'm going to this event, I want to get 10 Instagrams tonight. And I would literally just go up to people regardless of how you look, regardless of whatever, and be like, hey, what do you do? What's your name? Here's who I am. This is my stuff. Like, let's tap in, let's, you know. And that's actually how I met Megan to end up doing TikTok. I met her at an event. I saw her. I hit her up. I mean, I thought she was cool. And then the next day, she was like, hey, I got a business proposal for you.
Right. Let's
so definitely networking. And then as time went on, I would say, like, giving knowledge, because definitely, like, you were there at me and Megan's event when we had the little Christmas and creatives where, you know, we had a panel and we invited a bunch of creatives out and we had people that we felt were knowledgeable in the creatives industry to talk to them. And again, I feel like that's building community because it shows, again, like he said, that you care. I feel like knowledge is power, and if someone wants you to be knowledgeable, they care about you. If they want you to be aware of what's going on in the industry or in your field, they care about you. Because someone who doesn't care about you will keep you in the dark. They will keep you oblivious. So as far as community goes, it's help. Help. And going back to that word, support.
Yes.
Giving back.
And literally that really is, like, what I was going to say is for me, it's been like the simple practice of showing up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I may not be at everybody's show, but like if an artist sends me a show that I can make and like it's in my budget, I pop out to it. You know what I mean? Like, if and with even with like the podcast or the radio show, like that is one of the biggest ways that I show up for people. Like, just being someone that I'm gonna listen to your music, I'm gonna talk about it, and like I don't like if you send me music, I'm gonna listen to it, I'm gonna talk about it, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna do that. And I have really, like, I've had people like say directly to me, like, I really appreciate the fact that like I see your face, you know what I mean, you know, at things that I tell you about, or and even on the receiving end, like, there's certain people that like if I put a flyer out that I'm performing, they're coming to that show, like, regardless of it, and that feels so good. So yeah, just that the simple practice of like being there when you can, you know what I mean. And sometimes if you gotta communicate, like, you know, communicate if you need to, but yeah, just showing up in the ways that are accessible to you and possible for you is really, because once you do that for other people, they feel more comfortable doing it with you. And sometimes that sucks. Sometimes it sucks to always be like the kind person, the nice person who's showing up for everybody, but you will never,
it's gonna pay off.
Yeah, you'll never, you know, regret it at the end of the day. Like, you know, certain people are gonna piss you off and you might regret being nice to specific people, but overall, like you said, it's gonna pay off, and you're never gonna feel bad about doing good for people. You know. And like, just to go back on it, and like I kind of do want to expand on the topic too, like some people are just so closed off that they don't even know that like you can build relationships that are like not grimy in this industry, you know what I mean? And a lot of times that's what shuts people off from supporting each other. So what does that statement make you guys feel?
I love that you said that, because that was kind of a point that I wanted to in agreement with you. Like, I feel as though it's scary, yes, to like go up to somebody, you know, talk to them, get to know them and stuff like that, but honestly, they're probably thinking up in my head, well, is someone gonna talk to me, or I want to make a friend, and I came out here to kind of like meet and get to know somebody new. So in reference to what you said, I feel as though it's not that hard. It's not that hard, honestly. Like, you want to receive that energy. You put the energy into the world that you want to receive. That's just what it is.
I was definitely going to say, like, something along those lines, because me personally, I'm a very loving person. Like, I've always been that way. I'm very, like, giving. That's just how I am. And so as far as, like, being able to go up to people and stuff, one, I don't look at anyone as superior to me. So I'm not going to be, you know, I was someone who was insecure or scared to go up to people, but then I kind of got in the mindset of like, one, well, I'm trying to grow my brand and I'm trying to, you know, meet new people, and two, what is there to be scared of when this person is literally in the same boat as me? We're both at this same event, so you're not superior to me and you're not below me either, so we're equals. I'm coming up to you creative to creative, like, hey, tell me about you and what it is that you do, and maybe how can we work together and make something out of it. Now, to what you said about like people being closed off, I definitely will say that I'm still a loving person, but I look for signs. Because yes, you can be loving, you can be giving, but people will see that and also take advantage of that. They'll see that you have good energy. They'll see that, you know, you're down to be for the community. And because of that, they're going to want to pretend to like be, you know, cool with you to tear you down from the inside. So as someone who is very loving, you also have to be mindful of signs of people not respecting your boundaries, of people using you and all that.
Yeah, just to touch on it, like, I think that is a huge point, and it's like, oh my gosh, my train of thought was there and then it was gone. Oh my gosh, what did you just say?
People taking advantage of the fact
okay, yeah. Carried. So like, I think that's super, like, very true. Like, you have to definitely be careful. I I think it's one of those things where it's like we should always lead with love, but it is very important to like protect yourself. Like if you're going to put yourself out there, it has to be like in a way that isn't going to backfire. Like it can't have any risk associated with it. You know what I mean? Like
that's funny because putting any kind of love out is a risk,
right? to some extent, but in the sense of like you have to be happy with that action regardless of how it turns out is a better way of putting it. Of like you can't be kind because you want reciprocity.
You gotta be okay to fail, right? You might fail.
Have to be kind. Like we should be kind and like be trying to build relationships because that's like the right thing to do. However, if you extend your hand to somebody and they chop it off, like smack it away, I think a better
I like chop it off.
But you know, like if you put your hand out and somebody does anything other than hold it or you know, then yeah, we have to be like that boundary thing is really important. But sometimes you do, like I think that in this life you do have to kind of put yourself out there in hopes for things, just because like if you don't, you're never gonna build relationships, you're never gonna be able to, you know. That's one of the things I know a lot of people struggle with, like relationship wise, is like, you know, they can't even get into another relationship or close friendship because they've like just closed themselves off so much and they can't even like try to reach out. So
honestly, COVID I feel like has done a lot. Like it has literally erased a lot of natural just instincts and just how people move already.
For sure.
So I feel like people really have to step outside. Artists, creatives, anybody out there who's working, humans period, need to just step back into that uncomfortable feeling to just redo a whole new norm, because what's normal is not normal anymore. So we have to re-normalize certain things to make us better, to make us feel comfortable in our skills and then just in society period.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with what both of you guys said. Like, I guess in my case, you know, like I always, you know, try to be as supportive as I can and give as much as I can. But because of like certain situations where I did give that love and I felt like I was like betrayed or taken advantage of, now that's where those people who have their wall up come from. They're, you know, sometimes or most times people who were very loving and got taken advantage of. So now they feel like, damn, I can't get too close, or I gotta have a wall up, or I can't let too many people in. And I do feel like in the industry, you need to have somewhat of a wall. Yes, you can build genuine connections without being too revealing and vulnerable to people, to where they can be put in a position to take advantage of you.
And I think it goes back to what you were saying of like those tells with people, and like the more people you interact with, the more relationships you do build, and just the longer that you've like been in these circles and arenas, you do pick up on things of like, hey, this person is shady, or this and that.
For
and this
sure,
and
your
that.
intuition gone.
Absolutely. But also to piggyback on that, like people have reputations for a reason, like, and just as well research, man. Like, oh my goodness,
Not the light.
there's a lot of artists that like they do themselves a disservice by not doing research on the people that they're working with, so they get themselves in really messed up positions.
They don't do research, period.
You know what I mean? So folks will be in the city, oh, I met this A&R of we gonna do this, sign a contract a week later, and when they could have, when they met that person, went on Google or LinkedIn, put their name in, and seen that they have 3 or 4 lawsuits. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that's a really big part of it too, is, you know, utilizing your context clues. Like, yes, your intuition and how you feel around folks, but what
facts.
information can you get? Can you talk to people who've worked with people before or have relationships, you know, before you go into you know, business or making a commitment, you know what I mean? Because I think that's also a part of the conversation is, you know, you don't have to, like, going back to what I had said, like, if you're going to be kind to someone or reach your hand out, it has to be something that you're okay with doing, period. Like, obviously, I don't think anyone is advocating for, like, going into business with people like 3 days after you meet them at a mixer event, you know what I'm saying? But it happens. We actually have seen that happen. Like, I have seen that happen.
It happens sometimes
and
when the vibe is right.
And damn, I've seen that happen and not work out. So
we always do that.
Okay, but moving forward, you know, we're, you know, still on the topic of like entertainment and stuff and community. So one of the other things we were talking about is Orlando favoritism. So I don't even know where we want to start with that, because that has like a bunch of different like topics that we could branch out into.
Okay. I feel like Orlando favoritism for me, what I've seen, because community-wise, I feel like just the people, they've been genuine, they've shown love to me. But in a sense, what I've seen, like, people are so caught up into, like, their favorite artists and who they listen to, that they don't support people outside of, like, who they naturally support. Like, go listen to someone else's music. Step outside of what you know. Like, they're literally at you at every event, but you don't want to listen to their music and support them and whatever the case may be. So, enjoy.
I have a counter to that. So if they've seen them at the events and they're not listening to their music, isn't that kind of on the artist for not catching the attention enough?
100%. Like, let's like talk. Maybe I feel like it's both, because it's like, okay, I want to get your feedback, so give me feedback so I can go take it back or move on to the next one. So, but the artist has to talk to the supporter, and the supporter has to talk to the audience as well. That's why it's a working community. Communication.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, like if you're going to a show, you know, watch the show.
To them.
Like, why are you at the show if you're not there to support and watch the artist?
So, to kind of like, I guess, add on to what you guys were saying, I feel like as far as like a little bit touching on the Orlando music scene, I feel like a lot of the people that do come to the shows, yes, there are people that are there to see everyone, but I can be honest, because this is also me too. I've gone to events where I'm like, all right, Ari's performing, what time she going on? I'm here to see Ari and I'm out. And that's just me being completely honest. And I know there's a lot of people that do that. That's like, oh, so-and-so's performing, I'm really only here to see X, Y, and Z. Now, I'm not saying that when you do that, you should block out anyone else that's performing in between that. Because like he said, you never know what new sounds you might hear or come across. And now I feel like there's a lot more people who are more like, oh, I'm just here for this person because I like this person. I want to support this person. And then they shut everyone else out. And I don't feel like that's really even giving the artist a fair chance to, you know, try to connect and whatnot. Also, like, as far as the favoritism piece of things, me personally, like, I guess because, you know, I'm not from here, I've definitely seen, like, favoritism in the fact where, like, in my music or when I perform, I definitely make it known that I'm from Brooklyn, that I'm from New York. I'm always gonna rep my city, regardless of where I live. And I've been in situations where I feel like me saying that or people knowing that have affected the outcome of what happened, whether that be me winning something, whether that be me getting picked for to win something or whatever. It's kind of like, oh, well, she's good, but she's not from Orlando, so we not gonna give her stripes, because it's like, we want someone from Orlando to win, we want someone from our city to win. And it's like, that's not really cool, because this may not be my city, but I live here. I'm a part of this community. So same way you support someone else that's, you know, from here, that's live here, that make music, I would like that same support in return.
That level playing field. And one of the things that comes to mind when you say that is, you know, transplants make Orlando. Like, Orlando is what it is because it's a tourist town. And not that you're a tourist, but being a transplant, like, that's how most people are. All of us on this show, none of us are from Orlando. You know what I'm saying? But we're still giving resources in Orlando. We're still performing in Orlando. We're still building in Orlando. And it's good for everyone, you know what I mean? And, yeah, it definitely that level playing field. And I think it's really interesting just because as we continue to talk about it, it just, to me, the theme is, like, place and time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the sense of like the people in the audience are doing themselves a disservice by spending money on something that they're not getting the full value from, because they, you know, only care about this and care about that, whatever. But also the artists are, you know, fucking themselves over if you're bringing 30 people to a show. You could have thrown the show and just made some money off of it. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about it. Like,
and it doesn't even need to be 30 people. It could be a small intimate. You could throw a house show. You could, you know what I mean, and make something off of it instead of thinking small and you know, doing what is expected or what is like easiest for you. And I think it's just a whole bunch of like discombobulated parts, you know what I mean? Artists who don't want to support each other, who might be doing stuff, you know, obviously they're selling tickets for their promoters, that's the only reason they're on the ticket, but they're not getting anything from it. Like, it's all just very discombobulated, and I feel like no one is in the right place. I feel like the audience don't really want to be there, the artists don't really want to be there, and nobody's there for the right reasons, not even the people who are putting it together.
I think the why is confused, why everybody is doing what they're doing. I really feel like, because even me, sometimes I'm just like here going through the motions.
Right.
Like, as an artist, you know you're supposed to put out music. You know every once in a while you got to do your social media stuff. You know, okay, you got to go pop out at an event and stuff like that. So I feel like they're just doing the necessary steps that they see and they think that are going to make them successful.
Right.
So there's no research being done. There's no actual work being done. There's no, like, dedication to depict who and where we want to be as artists and creatives. So if that's not done, then you can't build.
Yeah, I love that. There's no why. Like, just kind of mindlessly acting. And also, like, I feel like going along with that, like, actually setting goals and creating plans. You know what I mean? Because oh my gosh, one of the biggest parts of my job is doing preliminary consultations and figuring out where people are at, what they've done, and what their goals are. You would be surprised how many artists who've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years get on the phone with them and ask them, okay, so, you know, what are your 6-month, year, 3-year, and 5-year goals? You know, where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? I just want to win a Grammy. I just want to sell out. Blah, blah, blah. I just want, and that's cool. Okay, that's one goal that you can have. But what, you know, what else do you want to do? What do you and how are you going to get there? What are the things that you're going to put into play right now? Because, like you said, people are just mindlessly acting. They're just seeing what everybody else is doing. Oh, okay, everybody's going to showcases and performing locally at showcases. This is where, and like it all serves a purpose, you know what I mean? Like, showcases are good, but yeah, it's just gotten to a place where like the meaning is
gone. And so for me, like, you know, I've been doing this music stuff, artist, whatever, since I was 14, so about 5 years now. And I feel like a lot of people are doing it, you know, for the wrong reasons. Like, everyone is like, oh, I want to get famous, I want to be viral, I want to make money, not realizing that being an artist is just like having a business. You're going to put out so much more than you're gonna get in the beginning, and that's why you need to have a why as to why you're doing this. Because if it's just, oh, I want to get famous, you're not in the right headspace to do what's necessary to even get to that level of talking about fame. Because you just want to put out music, you don't want to educate yourself, you don't want to pay for the promotion, you don't want to learn, you don't want to get your EPK, you don't want to get your stuff, like you can't tell me you want to be famous or you want to have a name and you're not taking the steps necessary to get there. And just like what you were saying, the showcases, the local showcases, yes, they have a purpose, and that's to help artists get exposure, to network,
more than anything, to practice.
Yeah, practice. Because how you gonna be on the big stage if you can't even engage the audience?
And that's why, you know, just personalizing a little bit, that's why for me personally, like I told y'all, I'm at a point in my artistry where I'm like, I'm not just performing any and everywhere unless it makes sense for me, unless it's something I genuinely want to do. Because I love to perform, but I feel like I'm at a point, of course, everyone could always have more practice. I'm not saying here like, oh yeah, I'm a legend, but I have performed on the Apollo stage 2 times in front of over thousands of people, and I perform. You know what I mean? So that's why it's like I'm a little outgrown of the showcases.
Absolutely.
Yes, I could still do with the exposure, not in Orlando. I feel like the music scene in Orlando, like we spoke about in the last episode, is very repetitive. So if you send me a show and I gotta pay $10 or $20 to perform in Texas, oh yeah, I'm there. Let's do all the showcases in Texas because exposure there. But here it's like, why are you continuing to pay to perform
every weekend
in front of the same people?
You're paying for bad
what?
experiences. you pay.
You're
for,
getting robbed.
Literally.
the same song too,
You're getting robbed.
Say that. And honestly, one of the things that just came to mind when we were talking about like the practice aspect of it and like outgrowing it, like showcases also just aren't the only thing that you have to do as a musician for practice. This is gonna sound terrible, and I'm being such a hypocrite because I don't do any of this, but I'm trying. I'm getting there. I will get there. But working out, man, vocal coaching, the educational part of it. You don't necessarily need to be spending a whole bunch of money going to showcases and stuff.
Well, I would perform
you
in
should
my
be
house.
spending money to go to a dance class, maybe for a gym membership, maybe if, to get your royalty registrations all figured out. You know what I'm saying? To get your copyrights filled out. You know, like that is practice too. That is homework too. And that's all the stuff that gets lost. Like, all y'all want to perform. And no, you just want to be seen. And that's where it comes back to, like, you said with, like, if you're not going to do these things, most people do not want it as bad as they say they do.
Yeah, no.
Most people are not as passionate as that they think they are. There's a lot of people who think that they want it so bad. And I feel like everybody gets caught up in the procrastination and something. But there's a lot of people who think that they want this more than life, but they, as soon as it is time for them to do something about it, want to blame other people, want to rely on other people, and you can't get anywhere like that.
That is a common theme because again I'm like kind of personalizing it, but it's only because I have like real life experiences relating to what you're saying. With the Apollo thing, or even the fact that I don't perform with my vocals in the back. When I was 14 or 15, I met this guy who was always hosting shows, very involved in the industry, and he told me, he saw me perform, he was like, she's a good performer, she dances, but she needs to lose the track in the back. I did not want to do that. I was like, what? No one performs without the track in the back. Everyone performs with the track in the back. Why would I not do that? And, you know, thanks to my mom and stuff, I did have that support. She pushed me through this without the track in the back and work on my breath control and being able to actually perform like how they used to back in the day, because that's how they performed back then. They didn't have no track playing. And so he's told so many people that same thing and they didn't take the advice. Even with the Apollo thing, he was the one who told me, like, look, they're having the auditions, here's this information, now it's up to you to do what you want to do with it. I went, I auditioned, I got picked. You know what I mean? And so he would always say, like, you could tell if someone wants it, because if you given them the resources, they're gonna do what they need to do to get it.
Constructive criticism.
That part. I want you to talk, Key. I want to hear your thoughts. What are some things that's been popping up as we've just been having this conversation?
I feel as though, as far as like movement in the industry, it can be hard, yes, to like perform, because even me, I'm in the same space like right now, having to like be disciplined enough to like work hard, go to the gym, do what you need to do. But honestly, like, it's a different experience nowadays, just with the underground scene and what the main stage and the mainstream stuff is like. I feel as though it takes a lot of work. Like, if you don't do the work to like get where you want to be, it's just not gonna happen. Like, a lot of artists are just trying to like ease by and think that they're just gonna like get famous overnight. That's not going to be the case. Like Jay-Z, Kanye, all of them, they were putting in their 150 hours. Like, you literally have to eat, sleep, and breathe. I don't mean eat, sleep, and breathe and like, been in it. Right. You have to make sure that you're moving strategically, that it's working for you in your favor. Like, if you're not really making sure that every movement is in like position and in the path that you're going to go into, then it's just going to be pointless steps aimlessly.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you see the people you named, they still famous to this day because they put in that work. And a lot of artists now is like they trying to ease by. They're not gonna be that big. You might blow up and then be forgotten about within a year.
And that's one of the other things is like, first of all, that the people who go viral and don't know what to do with it, so then it just it amounts to nothing. And then there are people who we think just went viral, but there's 10 plus years of foundational
because social media is so like you only see what's right in front of you. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
And so I've always been in the place where like I have sympathy for the musicians, you know what I mean? That's why I started DEFY to like be an accessible place. And it's 50-50, you know, from my perspective as someone who like works with people. There's a lot of artists who, like you're saying, like they really don't care. They really don't care. They want to be seen. They want to have a persona of an artist so that in 10 years they can tell their grandkids how cool they were because they performed at Grumpy's Underground. You know what I mean? Like
that shouldn't make me laugh, but
there goes that.
I was trying to hold it.
That's not shots at nobody is specific, but you know, with the idea of it, or Beecham or Guilt, you know,
that was just an example.
There's a lot of people who that is what it is, you know, they just want to be able to have that experience, and that's fine. Like the truth is all of that is cool. Like if that's what you want to do, like but be real about it.
Maybe they don't see it though.
And don't infiltrate and please allow for us to have serious spaces.
Yes.
Like you can want to do that. That's all fun and dandy. Go and do that, but like. When people are trying to cultivate a space that is like really about the artistry, we're really trying to put together good productions and work on our craft and support each other, allow us to have that, and don't come in and like bring your you know, bummy energy. Yeah,
I agree. I agree with all of that. Honestly, it's just like if you don't really want it, make way for the people that do. That's basically it in a nutshell. Like
very true.
And people need to be real with themselves. Honestly, like not all of us is gonna make it. I'm sorry.
Ask yourself if you really want
this.
What
did you say, Sai? Can you say that again?
Not all of us are gonna make it. And that's just that. You know how many people there are in this world? I hear new artists every day. Every day.
You know how many songs come out a day on Spotify alone?
Shoot, I can't even imagine.
Guess. Take a guess.
300,000.
Hell no. I'm
it's lower.
Lower?
It's lower.
Oh, okay.
But
20,000.
100,000? Damn, I thought it would be more because I always look at things like there's 7 billion people. Right? Even if you don't want to count certain...
Half of them want to be fucking rappers.
That, and then also, too, as an artist, I kind of use that as my motivation because y'all may not like my music, but somebody on this planet gonna like it. You know? And all I really need is 300,000 out of this 7 billion to rock with me.
Not even, bro.
Or less. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, you know, but like depending.
Like as far as big numbers go, like you don't really need...
the millions and millions.
Yeah, like you could gain organically those numbers from anywhere in the world.
You should just want better for yourself, honestly. Like
there's just so many people, like, and that's the one thing COVID did do with the social media. I feel like it's helped connect different states.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like that's another thing. They not thinking outside of Orlando. You know, it's like, do you want to be the hottest thing in Orlando? Go ahead, because I don't.
Right.
I want to be the hottest thing, period, wherever I go.
You can have that spot.
So again,
that's what I was going to say, though. I feel like a lot of people don't see you outside of like what they see right
box.
then. Yeah. So like stepping outside of that box is really what's just going to open your creativity, open what your opportunities are going to be, because you cannot just trap yourself in. You have to see what's out there, honestly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. With that being said, I'm going to have us go on another brief little intermission. We're going to now actually listen to Been Too Long from The Wicked Saint. Like I said, this is some cool sad boy stuff, emo rap type vibes, low key. So we're just going to vibe up real quick before we just get back into more convo.
Baby girl, it's been too long and I miss you. And I'm running out of times what the drugs do. Come and find me late at night, it's no issue. Never sleep late at night, got them weird blues. Baby girl, it's been too long and I miss you. Magnifica.
Wanting it as much as they may think, or not doing certain things to, elevate or, put themselves in the right space. So, what are some ways, let's think about or talk about just some ways that artists can, scale. But before we do that, actually, let's just talk about like what success means to us, and maybe a little bit about how artists should be deciding that for themselves.
I would say you cannot measure success if you don't set your goals or where you want to be. So first and foremost, you have to know what you want, how you're going to get there, backup and other plans on if you can't make it there and what you're going to do and how you reevaluate. But evaluation and knowing where you want to go is always important. But to add on to what success means to me, I've been honestly trying to figure that out for myself. So I don't have a definite answer, but for right now in this moment, success for me is just like waking up every day and being a better version of myself than yesterday, truthfully.
I love that. I love that. So I completely agree with what Key said, that in order to measure success, you definitely need to have goals. You definitely need to have certain things that you're looking forward to. I also feel like as far as success goes, it's so funny because, people try to be like, oh, you're not successful or da-da-da-da, but what is the standard of what is successful and what's not successful? Because there are certain people who maybe just living comfortably is successful to them.
Right.
Success is a perspective. Success depends on the person. So what's success for me may not be success for you. Maybe I want to be a freaking billionaire. That would be my thing, but that's not your thing, you know? So as far as like my own goals for success, I would definitely say building multiple forms of income for myself that is passive, where I can literally be on vacay and I'm bringing in that money. That's success for me. And that's not to say that I want to be rich or I want to be a millionaire or whatever. I could do all that, but just to say that I'm comfortable, my family is comfortable, and I could be stress free. I ain't trying to be old as hell. Working.
I totally feel that. And I think everyone, it's all pretty similar for us. Definitely that self-betterment aspect and financial stability. I want to just be able to support myself off of my passion, through music, through DEFY. That's what is success to me. And also just actually making a difference. I genuinely you know what I mean? I genuinely want to touch people, and if I'm able to touch as a lot of people, That sounds right. Pause.
Inspire.
Yeah, if I'm able to inspire a lot of people and move a lot of people, then yeah, that's success to me. And I feel like exactly like you really got it spot on, Key. Like you can't know what success is if you don't know what you want to do. Like what you want to do short term, long term, any of that stuff. Like so yeah, I feel like that's definitely where it starts. And also like your personal values I feel like are also really important to that conversation. So can we give the audience, let's be solution based, let's be nice and like help
nice
out, you know what I'm saying? What are some ways that you guys, you know, I know for me personally, I'm really bad like to ask this question too. Like I could come up with an answer, but what are some things that solidified what you knew like were your goals? Like what are some ways that you figured those things out for yourself?
When you say those things, you
goals
mean...
and like realizing what success is to you. Like what are some things that helped you come to those conclusions?
Can we come back to me? Because I need a second to dissect that question.
I would say, if I don't see it, then I don't think that it's going to be done. Like, I have to see it, whether it's on my phone, whether it's on my mirror, like in my room somewhere. But having it written down, then I really feel like that's going to make it most concrete for me. But I feel like also just holding myself accountable. Like, if you're not being accountable, then how do you know that, like, it's okay to slack off because we're human. Like sometimes we may not wake up every day and want to continue doing the things that we know we have to do. You got to keep going. When you do fall off, you have to get right back on and realize that like this is a constant battle. This is a constant motion type thing. You can't just stop.
I feel like that is such a good point because that can be one of the things that shows a lot of people that they're maybe not ready for it, or like they need to view their career in a different way. Because like if you can't wake up every day and be consistent and get to it, it's probably not your dream. Actually no, it's not your dream if you can't wake up every day and put something towards it. You don't have to, it doesn't have to kill you. It doesn't have to be, every day 24/7 you're constantly working, but you got to have that drive every day. And even on the days where it sucks, that period can't go on for too long. You got to jump back into it. So I feel like that's a really good point of like keeping yourself accountable and try, like if you like something, you think something is like what you want to pursue, try it and be consistent with it and to figure that out. Like, and if it's not, move on to the next thing, but at least you know that like you gave it your best effort and
it's okay to fail.
And like I said, just going back to like the reevaluating your career point of it, of how we talked about, same way how we talked about if you just want to fuck around and have this be a chapter of your life that you were a musician or you just want to be seen, like that's all fine and dandy. Some people like will come to the realization that art just needs to be their hobby and they shouldn't take it as a career, you know what I mean? And yeah, that consistency is king. And it tells all, man. I love that point. That was just like right on the head.
Okay, ask me the question again.
So what are some like either experiences in your life or things that have helped you determine your goals and what success is for you?
Okay, so I guess for me, growing up, my mom always told me that it's not okay to be average, and it's not okay to be mediocre. And I mean, some people might hear that and be like, why would your mom tell you that? Like, that's not really, great to be telling your
Super
child.
encouraging,
But it pushed me in a way where it's like, I guess success for me was being on Principal's Honor Roll. It was busting my fucking ass. Oop, I'm so sorry. It was like, really pushing myself, studying, going hard to graduate school early, to, go to my trade and all that stuff. And I guess for me, it's like, like we said, needing to have goals. I wanted to graduate early, so I graduated early. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the kind of person where when I set a goal for myself, success to me is achieving that goal.
It's just, yeah.
And working hard to achieve that goal day in and day out. Because granted, like you said, we are human, and it's funny because a lot of the things you said about like being easy, I need to take that advice myself because I'm super hard on myself, you know, and that could be because of growing up hearing that. Like, I always say, like, I don't want to be average. I don't want to be like everybody else in my class or in life, period. So that kind of always gave me the drive to just want to like push myself. And then that is going to come different for everyone because everyone has a different driving force and a different motivation. So again, that kind of does go back to what you were saying. Like, if it's really your passion, you gonna do whatever it is you got to do day in and day out to make that goal a success. And that's really what it is. It's more comes down to how bad do you want this to be like, yeah, I'm successful. I did that. I completed this goal. And you know what may be a very successful moment to you may not be that for someone else, but that's okay because we're all in our own lanes. We're all in our own little world. And so it's like you can't hold your standards of success to what someone else's is.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're running on time. We're 2 minutes over.
Shoot.
So yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. It's been a great episode. We've got a bunch of stuff to clip. So this is gonna be great. Really quick, let's just run through any updates, shout ourselves out. And then we're gonna have a lot to talk to you guys about the next time you see us. Bring in interviews for you guys, bring in all that new stuff. So definitely go check out the pages to see our a la carte services. We've got something for, you know, every person's budget. We're willing to work with everybody, so definitely make sure that you take a look at those and contact us. Also, if you're interested in sponsoring, in getting a commercial on the show, our DMs and my email is always open for that. My email is Ari, A-R-I, at DAREANDDEFY.net. Anything, even submissions for music, definitely you can send those into my email. Any inquiries, any questions, any of that stuff, you can get it over to me. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Nadie Sabe Official. That's NADIESABE Official. You can also follow my company's page, Dare and Defy, at Dare and Defy, exactly how it's spelled. For me personally, coming up this Wednesday, my bestie and the resident Dare and Defy rostered artist is coming back from Chicago. So I'm super excited. He's going to be in town, and we're throwing a little, like, welcome back show for him at Suvakava. It's a free show, so pop out. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got some dope rappers. Sai is going to be performing. Va is going to be performing. I'm going to be performing. I'm going to be the only singer. Everybody else is, like, a rapper. I don't know if you're going to sing. But, but yeah, it's gonna. And then Magnifica coming up on the 3rd has an artist mixer. And then also on Friday on the 5th, you guys have something, right? Yeah. What is it? It's an artist mixer too. Is another artist mixer? Okay.
Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, the Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. So we have 2 artist mixers coming up this week. One on the 3rd. That starts at 10 p.m. over at Deja Vu. And then again at Deja Vu for Cinco de Mayo is another artist mixer with Magnifica.
You can make one of them.
You can make one of them. You can come to one of those events. And then this week is also on Saturday. I have the Dare and Defy Jam session. So if you don't know what that is, it's 6 hours of open space and time for musicians to come together and make art together in real time. That's something that we also live stream with a really dope setup over at Innerspace Orlando. That's going to be taking place at 4 p.m. And yeah, that's me for this week. So shit, I'm
booked and busy.
Yeah, but yeah, go for it. I'll see y'all. That's my goodbye. I'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Okay, so for me, as you guys know, it's you can follow me at Gianna Sai, JIANNASAI, literally on everything. As far as me, what I have coming up this week, Yes, Wednesday at the Deja Vu, I will also be performing at both of those events, the pop-up show for Flair and the artist mixer. So y'all need to be there. Ladies free before 11. So come through, because y'all know I make music for the baddies. And honestly, that's about it. But for the month of May 21st is my all girls networking event. So whatever you do, come. You know, make some connections, get some business, and just vibe with us. May 30th is also the release of my first ever EP, so I'm very excited by that. Also sponsored by Magnifica, so I'm just super excited, and I can't wait for you guys to come through and turn up with me. It is invite only, but if you're interested, I will invite you. And that's, oh wait, hold on, the launch of the Baddie Brigade social media. Y'all need to follow us at the Baddie Bra, BRA Brigade.
Yes, I'm so excited. I just do want to say that real quick. Yeah, officially launched on all social media platforms. So yeah, we're gonna actually make a post after
after
we finish this show. But
yeah. I didn't even really got nothing to say, y'all. On May 25th, we have another, well, it's not going to be R&B Wednesday. We're going to change it up a little bit and do like an Afro Latin reggaeton type thing. So y'all definitely got to come out to the Deja Vu on May 25th for that. I don't really have too much going on in this month of May, but if I leave you guys with nothing else, listen to what we were saying. If y'all leave nothing else, make sure you guys invest in yourselves. Practice. If you want this, you really going to go get this. So if you need to reevaluate what you really want in life, figure that out. Sit with yourself. Do what you got to do. Stay great, beautiful people.
See you next week. Bye.
East to West.